their argument is, well, there was a terrorist who had the same faith as you. That doesn't make much sense. You can't judge a person by someone else's actions.
Still, I wish that, I mean, for their own sake, maybe it should be there, Ahmed, but I mean, I wonder if they were putting it there to make it more provocative. Why this real estate of all places?
Well, Manhattan is not entirely that big, and where you can find a good spot, you will take it. There are many, many Muslims who live in that area or in the surrounding areas, either New York or New Jersey, who have certain spiritual, cultural, social needs. And if New Yorkers can't build a center for themselves in New York, where are they going to build it? Detroit?
Well, they're going to build it in New York, but they're going to build it on the other side of town is what would make. Well, this wouldn't be a news story if it was on the other side of town, right?
Well, that's just the thing. When they went about doing it, they were doing so organically, innocently, without the least expectation that there would be any opposition to it. Once the opposition came, and it came for the wrong reasons, the two options were to capitulate and therefore reinforce the negative and misguided message of the opposition, or to fight it in order to make a larger point about America, which is precisely, I think, the right American way to go.
Maybe so. I don't know what their motives were, but boy, you're asking me to believe that they were terrifically naive then.
No, I really don't think that it is an intuitive thought
to
say that Muslims can't have a center in Manhattan.
No, they can have it. No, I get it. I mean, I totally understand that. But if they think that white Americans are going to look at that and be a little put off, I think that's how I began this conversation with. Just that's a little off-putting. If they didn't think that that would be the knee-jerk reaction from people, then I think that's naive. It doesn't make it.
Don't you think that by capitulating to that you're reinforcing that? Even
Maybe
though it's
so.
wrong?
I'm not saying they need to capitulate. I'm saying that that's what they're starting with. But what about this?
It's worth challenging because it's wrong. It is wrong to look at my community that is in opposition to terrorism, that has been a victim of terrorism, and say that you guys, by extension, somehow are to blame. It is wrong. That needs to be fought. That does not need to be
right. Yeah, that's what a dilemma for you then, right? I mean, and so how do you fight it? Do you capitulate and slink away, or do you stand boldly right there and say, I want peace?
The way every other group of Americans who has been in the past.
I don't presume that's not a fair answer. I'm just wondering out loud, so what do you do? And you say, stand right there and say, I'm for peace. Well, then,
you stand for peace, you show your true colors, you challenge people who continue to lie about you, and essentially hold your ground. There are laws that protect the rights of Americans, including Muslims. This is not some anarchic, place that is led by false emotion. People like Palin and others can exploit, people's ignorance all they want, but that's not the only side that's out there working. There's another side working for truth and justice and mutual understanding. So it's a battle, and we're on the right side of this battle. And this is our country, too. I mean, being Muslim is something I'm very proud of. There's no chip on my shoulder. I'm not guilty of anything. I've always been against terrorism as a Muslim, as a human being. So have my fellow Muslims in this country. So it's sad that others who claim to be Muslim have done what they've done. But you know what? You can look at the guys who claim to have represented America in Abu Ghraib, when they sexually tortured, Iraqis, and then say, oh, they represent Americans. Well, no, they don't represent Americans. And we condemn what they've done in our name. It's exactly the same thing. If we can understand that, we can understand this.
Does this analogy work? I have 60 seconds left, but Steve's been waiting in St. Paul. I think it's an interesting question. Steve, you're on WCCO. Hi.
Hi there. Just a couple of analogies. I mean, I don't think it would make sense to have a German cultural center right next to Auschwitz, or it wouldn't make sense to have an American Cavalry Museum on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation.
Yeah, let him respond to that. I got 30 seconds. What's your reaction to that?
Auschwitz isn't Germany, so, everything around it is German. I think he may say Nazi, but this is not a terrorist cultural center. This is an Islamic cultural center. So the analogy doesn't work.
How's this going to go, do you think? It'll get built, we'll get over it in time, or is this going to be, I wonder if it won't become a target. How sad and ironic if it became a target for terrorism itself.
No, I think by virtue of how sensational the opposition is, they're getting more media than they really deserve, but I think there are way more Americans who are in support of this mosque, including politicians. And
I think you may be right.
and it's going to be built.
Thanks for your time today, my friend. We'll visit again another day.